Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hello, my name is Batrisha binti Nurhami, and today my group will be presenting Public Policy in the United States for Principles of Economy. Before we move on to our presentation, let me introduce you to our own team members. Let's start off from me. Like I've said, I am Batrisha binti Nurhami. Next, we have Fifi Riani bintu Agus Sopyan, and then we have Siti Khadija Aini binti Muhammad Tayyib. Next, we have Nick Nur Hadirah Nasuha binti Nick Muhammad Irwan. And lastly, we have Muhammad Farhan bin Muhammad Saleh.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Fifi and I would like to talk about the concept of public policies. First of all, what is public policy? Public policy can be defined as the collection of government laws and actions to change the economy and solve the social problem. It can impact too many sections such as education, public health, business regulation, and infrastructure development. For example, many countries changed their public health policy during the COVID-19 pandemic. Even though this change is just for public health, it is also give a big impact on the economy of the country that time. It is to say that those sections will affect economic growth. In some countries, public policy can be divided into small scales, such as states and provinces. For the state stage, public policies involve laws that are made by the state legislative. Next, I will talk about the background of the country that we choose, which is the United States. The United States, also known as US, is a country located in North America. The country has 50 states and the national capital is Washington. Now, this country has been led by Joe Biden as a president since 2021. The United States is the fourth largest country in the world after Russia, Canada, and China. The United States also lead in many things such as in music industry, movies, and television. Not to mention, they are one of the world's dominant military powers. The US also has many top universities such as Harvard University, Stanford University, and Columbia University. Next, I will talk about the United States economy. The United States is the greatest economic power in the world. This country is rich in natural resources such as oil, natural gas, and coal reserves. They also lead with their powerful technology such as in electrical machinery, gadgets, vehicle, and military equipment. Because of that, US also known as one of the largest exporters in the world.
In my part, I'm going to be explaining the definitions of monetary policy and fiscal policy in a more detailed manner. So, monetary policy is the way central banks influence the economy throughout the management of money supply and interest rates. The government can influence how money is basically created, but it's important to understand that money is not being printed every day by the government. It is just simply the bank going by its own business. So, let's say you want to make a loan of 10,000 ringgit, and then you decided to put it in your own checking account in your local bank. So then you can deposit your money. When you have deposit your money, you now have that 10,000 ringgit in your bank. So you can access it however and whenever you want. So banks make money by charging you an interest. The maximum amount that a bank can lend you is depending on the reserve ratio. So let's say the reserve ratio is about 5%. Then the bank would have about 50 ringgit from the 10,000 that you have loaned. So the higher interest rates are, the lesser people would borrow money from the bank for monetary policy. But, however, if the lower the interests are, more people are going to borrow money and loan in money from the bank, which in this case, monetary policy is when the bank has control over the interest rates. Now, I'm going to talk about fiscal policy next. Fiscal policy is the use of government spending and taxation to influence the economy. The government has its own budget every day, just like any sort of household. They have bills to pay, and they have to figure out how are they going to get the money to pay the bills, basically. The increase and decrease of government spending can have a big impact on our own economy output. So this basically tells you that fiscal policy is very, very powerful. So raising taxes or lowering spending are contractionary fiscal policy, and lowering taxes and increasing spending ability is expansionary policy. But more on that later on my other team members.
I will be explaining about the tools of monetary and fiscal policies. The central bank in the United States, known as the Fed, uses various tools like adjusting interest rates, conducting open market operation, and setting reserve requirements to control the money supply. This action helped the Fed achieve its goals for maintaining price stability, promoting employment, and supporting sustainable economic growth. Next, fiscal policy. Fiscal policy refers to how the government uses the spending and taxation powers to influence the economy. It revolves around the government's utilization of spending and taxation to steer the economy. During economic downturns, increased government spending stimulates growth and job creation. Similarly, tax reduction encourages consumer spending and business investment. Conversely, during periods of high inflation or to manage public debts, governments may curtail spending or raise taxes. Balancing fiscal policies is crucial to foster economic stability and prosperity.
Expansionary monetary policy refers to a set of actions taken by a central bank to increase the money supply and stimulate economic growth. For the contractionary monetary policy, refer to the actions taken by a central bank to decrease the money supply and increase interest rate in order to control inflation and stabilize the economy. Unconventional monetary policy refer to the implementation of non-traditional method by the central bank to stimulate economic growth. Contractionary fiscal policy and inflation. This is policy seeks to cool an overheated economy by reducing aggregate demand and raising tax or spending less on government. For the expansionary fiscal policy, increasing government expenditure and lowering tax are two ways to increase economic activity and aggregate demand. It is frequently used to combat economic downturn during recession. Neutral fiscal policy, adopted when the budget deficit brought on by consistent expenditure is sustained over time and the economy is neither growing nor declining. Discretionary fiscal policy. This policy will be conducted when the government decides to implement a contractionary or expansionary fiscal policy which are not part of the main fiscal policy.
Implementation of the monetary and fiscal policies. Monetary policies is the Federal Reserve shape monetary policy through tools like the federal funds rate, open market operation, reserve requirements, and the discount rates. The FOMC makes key decisions and forward guidance, communicate future objectives, shaping market expectations, and during economic downturns, unconventional methods like quantitative easing involve purchasing long-term securities to impact long-term interest rate. Next is the fiscal policies in the US. Congress and the President control fiscal policy through budgeting, taxes, and spending. They shape the financial landscape, influence individual and corporate financed and used to stimulus program to address economic challenges and promote stability and growth. In the US, Congress and the President guide fiscal policy through budgeting, taxation, and spending. Then the President proposed a budget to Congress, which then debates and passes spending bills, shaping the financial landscape. Tax laws set by Congress affect individual and corporate finance. Automatic stabilizers like progressive taxation and employment benefits. So, support the economy during recessions. Congress can implement stimulus program to address economic challenges impacting the federal budget deficit. The deficit influences the national debt, subject to Congress set debt ceiling, affecting the government's borrowing capacity. Overall, these policy tools are used to foster stability and growth in the US economy.
From this research that has been conducted, we gain more information about public policy. We learn how many types of monetary and fiscal policy that has been created, and we also analyze what kind of tools that has been used to achieve all policy objectives to stabilize the national economy. After that, we learn much information about the United States, including the background of the country until their public policy matters. From studying the background of the United States, it gives us knowledge about the current condition of its economy, which has been increasing day by day. Not only that, we also learn how they control their budget and the policy to keep up the current economy. Lastly, we believe that the United States can stabilize its economy position for the next few years if they keep consistent in planning an effective future policy and follow the current situation.